Sorry, Plants vs. Zombies, but my actual favorite series of all time is Monster Hunter. Now, starting with Monster Hunter Tri, I've also put hundreds of hours into Freedom Unite, Tri U, World Iceborne, and recently I've been playing Generations Ultimate and the new Monster Hunter Rise simultaneously on my new Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm not going to necessarily make Monster Hunter a recurring topic on the channel, but I did want to talk about some of my favorite monsters from the newest game to hopefully persuade some of you to come on over and join the franchise. Specifically, I'm going to cover my top 5 favorite monsters from low rank quests in Monster Hunter Rise. Now, I'm only covering low rank because I think a lot of ranking videos tend to skew towards the end game monsters, and I also haven't finished high rank yet. Not to mention that obviously this video will have spoilers for the low rank monsters, but if you're not quite done with the game yet, it's likely that you've gotten past low rank and you don't want the spoilers for the end game high rank monsters anyways. But, anyways, if you do enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Otherwise, let's start off with number 5. And coming in at that number 5 spot is Naga Kuga. Now, Naga Kuga made this list pretty much because, well, I absolutely love this monster. This is a monster that has been recurring throughout the generations of the games, and who I have farmed for countless hours in the past, trying to grind for those sweet, high affinity, high sharpness weapons. In Monster Hunter Rise, I think Naga fits in perfectly with the flow of the game. The fast-paced, aggressive nature of Rise makes this monster a ton of fun to fight, and compared to some of the other returning monsters, this one is never a boring fight. Now, my only complaint is that Naga is quite a bit easier in my opinion in this game than other ones. I think a big contributor is the fact that your character will announce when Naga Kuga is about to do the dreaded tail slam, which prevents you from getting one shot most of the time. But overall, still an absolute blast to fight. Quick, swift, wings cut like a blade. Absolutely love this monster. And in the number 4 spot, we have Almadron. Now, this pick might be somewhat controversial because a lot of people seem to greatly dislike this monster, and I would agree that the first time you fight it, Almadron is a weird fight. It lays on its back with most of its body sunk into the muddy ground, so you have to aim for the head or the tail a lot, and at first this position and the movement is awkward, but after enough fights, I've actually grown to like it a lot. I like the fight because it's different, and I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of the mud mechanic, but considering Barroth is the main mudman, it's cool to see a more threatening monster utilize the mud mechanic to a more full potential. Also, when it picks up that giant mud rock and goes crazy slamming it into the ground, that is the true peak of the fight, and the adrenaline really kicks in. Overall, I also really love the design of the monster. I love how it has just this monstrous huge tail. It almost works like a paintbrush to swiftly paint mud all across the map. And just with that being said, I just like Leviathans overall. I think the designs are great, and I think most of the Leviathan fights are fantastic as well. That being said, I do wish Almadron spent less time on his back, and the big mud walls, although cool, don't really seem to serve much purpose and are a bit gimmicky, so he'll stay at number 4. Now, swooping into the top 3, we have Rathalos. You know, in Monster Hunter World, I thought Rathalos was a little baby. He was a pushover. He was too darn easy. And then Rise comes along, and the devs must have remembered that he's supposed to be a difficult monster, and wow, did they really crank up his attack for this game. Now, Rathalos was the very first monster I carded to in Rise, and I carded twice in one hunt. You have to remember that this is low rank, so your gear isn't going to be incredibly strong, and therefore, this red boy's attacks hit hard. Out of all the returning monsters, Rathalos was by far done the best in my opinion. Number 1, flash bombs don't work nearly as well as they used to. They knock him out of the sky, but they don't leave him stunned on the ground like older games did. Number 2, the poison claw lunge has ridiculous tracking capabilities. You can roll and try to dodge it, and most of the time it won't matter. You'll still get poisoned and damaged anyways. I've gotten poisoned by Rathalos more than by Raytheon, and she's supposed to be the poison queen. And number 3, the ultimate attack is ridiculous. Even though your character warns you when the super is about to happen, and you see Rathalos shoot the flames on the ground, the follow-up blast is still hard to predict the location of and will one-shot you if you are standing in the way. Overall, I don't like that your hunter warns you about ultimate attacks in this game. I think it makes them less intimidating, but Rathalos is the only one where the ultimate actually still strikes fear in my heart. Also, because of the wire bug and Rise being a much more aerial game, I feel like the Rathalos fight is much less annoying and much more fair than in other series. You actually can contest him in the air and constantly be in the battle, unlike past games where you either spammed flash bombs or sat around and waited for him to come down out of the sky. Overall, this is my favorite Rathalos fight yet, but the number 1 and 2 spots still manage to push the aggression to another level. And in the number 2 spot, we have Mizutsune. Now, I had the pleasure of farming around a dozen Mizutsune in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate about a week before Rise launched, and I have to say, I really like this monster, and I like it even more in Rise. The Mizutsune fight almost plays out like an intricate dance between you and the monster. Its moves and combos are fluid and slippery, just as one would expect from a monster that covers the arena in bubbles. I also find that the bubbles add a bonus layer of difficulty, but don't saturate the playing field enough to be annoying. This fight, like most of the successful Rise battles, encourages hyper-aggression and careful use of Silkbind moves to stay close to the monster to get openings when it shoots out more powerful attacks, like the Water Beam. You do not want to be caught healing when it rips this Water Beam. I'm actually somewhat stuck on the high rank Urgent Mizutsune quest because oftentimes when I'm playing online, my entire team will get one-shot by the Water Beam at some point during the fight. Now overall, the fluidity and aggression of this monster, along with the exclusive bubble mechanic makes this a really interesting and intense fight for someone with low rank armor. But there's still one monster with an even more aggressive moveset and another unique blight that takes the cake as the number 1 pick. And my number 1 favorite monster in low rank Monster Hunter Rise is none other than Magna Malo. Honestly, I'm sure a lot of you saw this one coming. The flagship monster of Monster Hunter Rise is by far my favorite fight so far. Magna Malo takes a bunch of great aspects from various monsters across the series and combines them into one brutal death machine. Its base attack combos are similar to Zinogre's furious leaps and slams, but it doesn't have any of those long charging windows like Zinogre does. Also, Magna Malo has quick, piercing tail attacks much like a Glavenus and a new blast blight called Hellfire Blight that reminds me a lot of Brachydios, as well as the relentless nature and progressive weak spots as if you were fighting a Nergigante. If you don't continuously damage this monster and douse out his flames, he will get supercharged and all Hellfire will cut loose, unleashing combo after combo of melee attacks mixed in with long range and AoE blasts. This monster is a true beast. Its weapons are incredible blast weapons, and the armor even lets you harness the power of Hellfire Blight to whack down on your foes with the same ridiculous urgency. Magna Malo is a bombshell, and his fight will never fail to be intense, a creature surely deserving of my number 1 low-rank monster spot. Anyways, guys, that about wraps up my top 5 list, but I want to know, what do you think? What are your favorite low-rank monsters in Monster Hunter Rise? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, in the gameplay, I was using a low-rank Anjanath armor set with high-rank Kezu boots for armor to max out Focus and Slugger for my hammer build, as well as a high-rank Bishaten and hammer to get through these gameplays a bit quicker for you. I actually cleared out most of low rank with a long sword before I decided to try the hammer out, and honestly I've been loving it in this game. But enough Monster Hunter talk, thank you all for watching, I'll see you next time, game on gamers.